And we're going to go to Matt Crandon.
Okay.
Don't sound so optimistic.
A zombie done.
Yes.
Go for it.
No, I want to know what you guys think an esport should be. I like a lot of people talk about esports, and a lot of people talk about whether certain things should be classed as an esport. And I feel, to me, a lot of games are being put into that category where they shouldn't be.
Well, that's interesting.
For example,
What do you mean by esport?
sport. Well, to me, an esport is
For me,
Exactly. No, but that's what I mean. Like, what is an
Electronic
esport?
sport.
I've never heard the term
To me, an
Have you not?
esport is something
Wow.
like multiplayer, competitive, and requires some degree of skill.
no,
So, like,
has to degree a lot of degree of skill.
Mario Kart is what we're... So
it could be classed as an esport, but it's not competitive enough.
The esports
Mario
that
Kart.
are around at the moment is generally League of Legends, Dota, World of Warcraft.
MOBAs.
World of Warcraft isn't an esport to me.
It is.
So
PvP.
It is.
MOBAs.
Yeah,
is
PvP is,
It's a massive.
but World of Warcraft as a game cannot
yes.
be classed as an esport.
The
To me,
the 3v3
anyway.
thing that they do. There's there's big old
Yeah,
tournaments.
there's the
Large
arena.
scale.
I played this game for 12 years. Come on. No,
But that,
I know how
how
massive that part of the game is, but I can't, like, to me, you cannot class World of Warcraft as an esport.
But why?
World of Warcraft.
No, you can class the arena part of it as an esport and as something on its own.
So
but
not-
people call
so-
World of Warcraft an esport. No, it's not. It's an MMORPG.
So if you separated the PV and PvP, you're saying PvP is an esport.
Yeah, because it requires a lot of skill,
It ticks those boxes.
a lot of dexterity, a lot of competition, and it's multiplayer. That to me is an esport. But you can't call World of Warcraft an esport.
Well, what would you call it then?
MMORPG.
Yeah,
you
no,
can
it's
call
not
the
that.
arena an esport.
Well,
Yeah.
we're arguing about something that doesn't need arguing about. We're
He's
all
saying
agreeing
that-
on the same
Are
thing.
you saying like esports should be like sports games like NFL and FIFA? And
no, because
that
that's
sort of thing?
no, because that's not that's
FIFA is also an esport.
yeah, there it is. But that is a sport, a game about a sport. It is a game of a sport, not a sport in itself.
Right, a game which is
Like a lot of people call chess a sport. I couldn't call chess a sport.
Why not? Go to your tick boxes.
If I can go through the Wikipedia definition, sport or sports are all forms of usual competitive physical activity or games which, through casual or organised participation, aim to use, maintain and improve physical ability and skills while providing entertainment to participants and in some cases spectators. So by definition, e-sport being something that is digital, that can apply to Call of Duty in my eyes.
Yeah, it is. Call of Duty is an esport.
That Call of Duty could be an esport.
It is.
Any MOBA could be an esport.
They generally are.
So, like, you could say the same like chess. If you're going to say like chess isn't technically a sport, you could argue that games aren't art. It's the same principle. So, does it come under the criteria? Yes, that it is. It's not really.
I think that's a different topic altogether. Because you can argue the fact that, you know, like darts isn't a sport, and there's a lot of my friends that believe that darts isn't a sport. I think it is.
According to Wikipedia's criteria,
well, that's it.
yeah.
You're going by that definition. Anything that's
It
really
is, but some people don't.
improve skill.
As sports, not esports now, but as sports, people say that if you're not physically sort of draining yourself, it's not a sport. To me, you know, anything could be a sport so long as it's got the competitive nature in it.
But I've like, again, this is an opinion topic. This is what I want. I want to know what you guys feel on this. So to me, I feel like darts and chess, they aren't a sport. They're a competition. They're something you compete in.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't call them a sport because a sport has to be athletic.
Yeah, that's
It's
it.
the term
So,
physical
based on
exertion.
that, an e-sport can't exist because what is athletic about sitting there with a controller?
Well,
Call of Duty?
That's why it's called
That's
esports.
why it's called an
This is what
e-sport.
was just going through my head. If sport has the term physical exertion in it, which the dictionary definition does because it's right here,
Yeah.
then if you go to e-sport, then surely it would be like digital competition
Yeah.
or something like
The
that.
thing is, yes.
If you take away the physical side of things and put in a digital side of things, and you have an
Yes.
e-sport.
I think if
But
you look at
then-
it like that kind of definition there, you look at like the technology we got now, like the PlayStation cameras and the Kinects and the Wii's and all that sort of stuff.
Is it regular sport now?
Well, that's it. Yeah, like that's becoming like the new sport is like you can actually get up and do something now. So if you're looking at like definitions of what sport is, technically those sorts of games where you actually bowl and where you actually you actually do stuff in your living room. That's.
But then if we take, so let's say chess, which you don't think is a sport because it's no physical exertion, what then happens if you put it onto the computer and people start playing digital chess? Does that become an e-sport? Because
I still think
physical?
it's simply a competition. It's a mental game. You think you can call it a game but I don't think you can call it a sport.
So wouldn't League of Legends technically just be a mental game?
In theory, yeah. But I think when you go into the esport criteria, like I think it's hard for me to define, but if you say Dota, I feel like that can class as an esport because it ticks all those fields except for the physical exertion bit. But like as well as it having a generally set time, not many games last longer than an hour. There is a target goal. There is. It's extremely long.
Pro games don't go on that long.
It's 45 minutes, and if you're losing, it's 45 minutes of losing. It's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, like Sam said, pro games don't even go on for that long. There's a goal. There is a certain amount of scoring to it, and there is dexterity. Well, like there is a lot of skill that goes into it. Like James will tell you, like when he first started.
It's just a lot of clicking.
You just have to.
There's a lot of clicking.
There's a lot of clicking,
Every
but
word
there's ways
you've
to do
just
it.
said, you could have opened with chess is a sport because, and you
said all
would
of
have
those words.
described chess, but you weren't. You were describing
But
Dota
when
or
you-
League of Legends, and it's the exact same thing. The only difference is League of Legends has the word e-sport. They've created a genre of sport for it to be
Yeah, it is.
You could basically go there as an M sport, and we're going to call it mind sports for chess and poker.
Yeah, why not?
League of Legends on ESPN that one time. They had it on ESPN.
Though.
We're doing it. M sports is a thing. You heard it here.
No, that's not the question though.
Sports.
The question is, what do you define as an e-sport? It's not whether you categorise chess being a sport or darts being a sport or football being a sport. That's a separate subject. That's not even in this subject.
Here's my thing. If I'm sitting at home playing Street Fighter with someone, I'm not doing an e-sport.
Yeah.
But then when I watch it online and I'm watching people compete at it, and
It's an
it's prize
e-sport.
money, it's an e-sport.
Yeah.
I think it's much simpler than how we're arguing about it now, and it's much simpler than defining actual sport. Because then you're like, well, is snooker a sport? If bowls a sport,
Yeah.
etc. It gets really complicated because they're definitely physical. You're doing things, you're bowling. I hurt my leg bowling. That's physical.
Rachel hurt a bum bowling.
She hurt her bum
Yeah.
bowling. It's mine was a little bit sore the next day. I'm not gonna lie.
Clench those buttocks.
It's all that weight on one side. I think I was leading with the wrong foot. I think
for
that's what it
reasons not related to bowling.
was. Bush or tail.
But I'd probably say that bowling and snooker are a sport.
In a similar vein,
Because-
darts isn't. Because
No,
it's very much just throwing one thing at another.
Darts. If we go, if I use the same,
and everything. Now.
if I use the same definition, darts probably would be, but chess would not.
You just hate chess.
No, I enjoy chess,
Yeah.
but there is no. Everything that happens goes on up here unless you can't use your fucking arms. You know what I mean? Like,
They could have weighted chess pieces.
like it's simply moving something to here. There's, like snooker, you have to figure out your angles, and your arms have to then
It's the skill.
hand-eye coordination. There is things that
I know what you're saying.
in sync with something.
So, at a similar vein then, Ant, because you were saying everything that he said about chess could have been related to. Or he said about Dota could be related to chess. When you play a board game, how do you feel like you competing with people like that? Do you consider that?
I wouldn't consider a board. I haven't played a board game that I would consider a sport, but that's mainly because there's too large an element of chance. Whereas if you're on a football field or if you're playing tennis, that comes down to your training. There's no way you can train 7 days a week to play a game that is heavily reliant on chance.
But then chess is the other side of that, because chess is you're in control of every move that you do. So maybe that is a sport, and that gets real complicated.
But I think because you're not, your hands when you're playing chess or a board game are just being used by your head for what your head's doing. Your head's figuring it out and your hands are doing it for you. You're moving that piece to somewhere else. There's no.
But this is not about esports.
This is what he's
Deal about
We've
chess.
gone on a tangent and you'll deal with it.
My opinion of what an e-sport is now, I think if you broaden that definition there and you don't focus on the physical part and think about what your mind does and the skill that it takes, I think anything in an e-sport realm, anything that people can watch other people playing and get enjoyment from, I think that's what we're looking at as
Exactly.
an e-sport now.
Exactly
I
that.
think if you're going to sit down and watch two people play Street Fighter, which happens all the time, there's tournaments, people sit down and they watch them and they'll sit and play for hours, I think that's an e-sport.
They even go and make their own controllers and shit.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. I think with that sort of level of fan involvement, I think that's what we could class as an e-sport now.
I agree.
It's tricky, isn't it? Because of now that Twitch exists and YouTube gaming, you can sit and watch anyone play.
Well, the thing is, Twitch
Exactly, yeah.
exists because of the boom in this.
Yeah.
You know.
YouTube gaming especially.
Yeah.
That came out because of everything that was
Yeah. I mean, it used to be. Was it just in TV? Twitch.
Justin TV.
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember the first people sort of streaming on that. It was like, wow, you can watch people play these games. I remember there was as someone that comes from quite heavily into esports from StarCraft, going back to StarCraft and StarCraft Brood War. You used to be able to download the videos of people playing with commentary
Yeah.
called VODs, and you used to have to watch them through that. There wasn't a streaming service. You couldn't go and watch a pro play. You'd have to watch the recording of it, of them playing.
It's gaming actually.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
massive.
It's a topic for another time because there's
Yeah.
a lot I can talk about. On Twitch.
But to me, esports is, as Matt said, it's something that a fan base can actually sit down and watch. We are in the age now where people watch computer games for enjoyment.
Yeah.
I mean, I stream Dota, I'll stream some StarCraft and stuff, and people watch it. I mean, I'm just a guy in my office,
yeah.
and people watch it.
Yeah.
The only time I watch people play games is when I'm making a decision on whether I should buy it or not, and it's a let's play.
Yeah.
But that's just me. So like, I've never really. Recently, I've started watching a few more streams, but I don't really sit
like
there.
some streams.
I'll never sit there and go, I've got an hour free. Let's put a stream on. Like if that's the case, I'll see what HBO's just made.
I think esports has a lot of money element in it as well. I mean, I've competed in tournaments for money with StarCraft, and it's huge. Like I went down to London when StarCraft Wings of Liberty was in beta, and there was a tournament in London at, is it Trocadero's in Piccadilly? Yeah, something like that. It's in a HMV anyway, and it's literally like a LAN. What's it called? It's like a cyber cafe, I guess.
Yeah.
I haven't been to one for ages. That was the last time.
I don't use the word cyber anymore.
No, cyber. Say cyber. It's all I now, isn't it?
iCafe.
iCafe. There's an iCafe, and it was literally, we walked in, like we had a PC to sit at, and we'd play against another person for another spot in the next round, and the winner got like $1,000.
Yeah, I think for me there has to be some element of a prize, or
Yeah,
there has to be a winner. Like if it's two people playing Street Fighter and it's online, it's not necessarily a sport. And I think unless it's in a tournament or in a competition basis, like if there's nowhere to move on to, no one else to play, I'm not going to be invested enough. And for that reason, I don't think it's a sport. But that's-
I mean, it's to that point now as well where there's gaming teams. For example, EG Evil Geniuses. I don't know if they've still got it. I'm pretty sure they do, but they have a gaming house in Arizona. There's a really good YouTube video of a tour of it actually.
Crips.
Yeah, and it's literally like a fucking mansion. They've got a pool and everything, and you walk in and there's just loads of guys playing on computer games that are in the team, and they travel from all over the world, like Korea, Europe,
Like
and
a
all
clubhouse.
that. It's almost like a clubhouse, but like to that scale where you get paid for being there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think the only negative side of esports is the fact that they chose to call them esports. I think there should have been another name, something else that's more marketable.
Not sports.
Yeah, because sports.
We'll get rid of this argument.
E-competition.
Completely, yeah. E-games.
E-games.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. E-competition. Yeah, I like that one. If you include the word sport, then you include the definition.
I don't know.
Take a word and put it there and say, but it doesn't mean that anymore.
Yeah.
People aren't going to get.
I don't know. I kind of disagree, just because I think for the good of gaming, really, calling it esports has made it appear more serious to a lot of people that wouldn't take gaming seriously. I mean, gaming is seriously. I mean, you make so much money from gaming.
It's super serious, guys.
Like if obviously you've got your casuals. You got your casuals that
Filthy casuals.
filthy casuals. Master Race. You got your casuals that like to play games, and if they win, they win. If they lose, they lose. But then you got the other people that play to get better and to win and to carry on winning, and that's where you get the cut-off, I think.
Well, then you start calling people game athletes. Like if they're playing
Gathletes.
to get better, fucking gathletes.
Flames.
But if they're playing to get better,
Yeah.
if they're playing to get better and practicing, say it every day,
Yeah.
like at that point they take on a title of being not an athlete, because that is, to me, defined to physical sports or physical competition, but another word to define a gaming athlete, because you are training every day to become better at what you do.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I think there's a very blurred line throughout the entirety of it. It goes back to casual and hardcore again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it always comes back to the same thing: filthy cash, elitist hardcore. That's it. Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like, I wanted to jump back on what you said about World of Warcraft, like, and streaming. If people were watching some teams stream an arena match, that to me is an esport. But then people will watch somebody just questing or raiding on World of Warcraft.
That's not an esport.
That's not an esport, but people will still get paid to raid.
Yeah, but
I had
ultimately,
friends on World of Warcraft that would, like, they would raid, they'd record it, but there'd be an advert on it, and they'd just be defeating a boss in something they kill every single week, easy as fucking chips. Like, they're
easiest chips.
they've got a sponsor in the bottom by Gillette or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Gillette were a big sponsor of esports.
yeah,
early on.
Exactly. Like I think it probably wasn't Gillette, but you told me about Gillette. Some mainstream brand is sponsoring this guild to go and beat a boss that they do regularly.
It's not even that though. I mean, once you get to that, once your raid team gets to that sort of nobility, let's say, nobility.
Shit serious in World of Warcraft.
They have like them raiding and streaming it. To me, is an esport because they're getting paid to do it still.
But that's what I mean.
not
They're getting paid to do it, but it's not a sport. It's not an esport.
I think it is.
Because it's not competitive.
It is though.
It's just if they're doing it and being paid for it, then it's just a job. It's not a sport. It's just a revenue stream. It doesn't. Is this competitive podcasting? If ultimately money comes in from royalties or advertising or sponsorships, does this become a sport? It's like, no.
Yes.
No, but
We're not athletes!
but
Sports.
athletes.
Sportscasts.
But honestly though, it's
That element of esports annoys me. The whole sports casting thing.
The casting?
The three guys in a suit.
they get paid shitloads as well.
They do get paid a lot, but it's just it grinds me a little bit because
It would be like us taking a recording of an NFL game and commentating on it.
The thing is, we're not
Getting paid to do that.
ex-pro NFL players, so we can.
I get that.
Yeah.
But you're an ex-pro video gamer.
I'm not pro. Then.
Semi-pro.
I never got paid to play.
I thought you did.
I won tournaments. Doesn't mean I got paid to play.
Either way, you could have some kind of claim on commentating on something because you have a certain degree of knowledge.
Of a certain degree, but not to what the
StarCraft.
guys, for example, Apollo, who's a StarCraft caster, he was pro at one point. He was with Team Dignitas, I think, the last time I heard of him, and he's still commentating on games now with another guy called Rotterdam, who's I think he's Dutch, and he's again ex-pro. Used to get paid to play. Obviously, didn't like it. Got too old, And
once you pass 28, your reaction time.
honestly, though, the people that play these video games, their reactions are so
Isn't it?
quick that you get to a point where you get too old to react.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's no one in esports that's over 28 because they can't do it.
I love the idea of just like some 17-year-old e-sport like
Fucking
Gaffney
slaying
waking
it.
up with like a little finger curl like
You know what they probably do though?
with his
Probably how many
protein.
clicks a minute
Yeah,
and
his
stuff like that.
protein shake.
they do. There's some streamers. I can't remember what his name is. There's a South Korean guy who, when I watched him win this tournament, he was 16 at the time, and before all the games, he gets MS Paint. Opens MS Paint up and he just circles with his mouse. Continuous circles just to warm his hand up and stuff like that. But he won.
And you get a pretty picture at the end of it.
He won MLG tournament. MLG is a pretty big tournament.
Yeah.
He won MLG for StarCraft.
Wasn't that more like Halo and stuff like that?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Their FPSs.
Yeah, but StarCraft had their in it as well,
Yeah.
and he won like $1 million.
And
What does a 16-year-old kid do with $1 million? I know his team will take a cut of it, but
Buy more games.
buy more games. What does he do with it?
Speedboats.
I've just come up with something genius. This is Ant's top tip for future competitive gamers.
Future athletes.
Yeah, future athletes. Learn to play piano very early. Make your parents learn to play piano, because if you can play like level 8 piano at that age and then you start gaming, like, your fingers would be like magic. Yeah.
Somehow your fingers make that noise.
That's when you play an Optimus and not a keyboard.
Just very quickly back to the esports casting side of things when they do a live event. I understand why these people are qualified to do that, but I do think it should be presented differently, because the reason why that works in sports is because of the personalities that come through sports and how you have to be a little bit out there to be an athlete in today's media, and you have to be, say things that the media like on it. You have to be really witty. And people who play computer games don't usually fall into that category.
No, they don't.
And I can say that because I play games, and it's I know.
I'm allowed to offend you fuckers.
But it does seem like that the people who get to the top of the game, even though they've got the knowledge, aren't best placed to be in front of a camera. Like that sounds really bad, but
like us.
There are always people that don't even play games.
yeah,
They're just sort of there because they're good at talking.
The problem is finding the person that's got the charisma value and the knowledge of said game they're going to commentate on. That's a difficult job. And I think, you say like we have football commentators, they know their bit, but they're also quite charismatic in front of the camera.
Apart from Michael Owen.
But like you've got a lot of people that are very sort of out there in terms of football and with the other main sports. But to gaming, the people that are watching it don't care about the charismatic value, really. Well, I do personally, but a lot of people don't. And where they'd prefer to have someone knowledgeable and just a little bit awkward doing it.
Yeah, I do find it strange that actually, as a medium that probably doesn't lend well to its audience, like in games and sports, they've gone for the sports approach. They have. I find that quite strange.
The other day I was watching a StarCraft tournament. I can't remember what tournament it was. It's the first one I've watched for a long time, and they now have like a very attractive female. Like they do. What's an
VAF?
Yeah. And then they have one of those, and they go around to the pro gamers that have just won their game to interview them, like you do in sports. Oh, you've just won this big game. How'd you feel?
It's so awkward.
And like they're standing there, they're like a 16-year-old kid with this really attractive bird next to her, and it's like
Sweated.
That's exactly right.
And then they have to speak a different language.
Never spoke to me before.
And they have to speak a different language as well because like they're Korean, so they have to have a translator. So it makes it even more awkward.
Yeah, I was watching when it was BlizzCon, the 3v3 arenas for World of Warcraft. And then the one guy's had just won a match, and they brought the guy on the stage because he's like the MVP or something like that. And the guy comes over to interview him. And in all fairness, the guy that's interviewing was very charismatic and back because he's basically the show.
He is the show. Yeah.
And he came to like, how does it feel winning that match? And the guy's like, I just tried really hard.
Just tried really hard. I think I did good.
And then he was so gangster after this because he tried to make it really awkward. And was like, that girl there's got a sign for you. Do you know her? Yeah, I know. Who is she? Is she your girlfriend? She's the most important girl in the world to me. So she's not your girlfriend. That was a very good way of saying you're leading her on. That's fantastic.
I just had in my head, has anyone seen that YouTube video of the reporter talking to the little kid? And she's like, "Oh, do you have a girlfriend?" No. He like says it with like this little smile and then just bright.
He asks you if he misses his mum or something like that, and he goes no, and he's looking at her, then all of a sudden.
Just starts crying, and then there's loads of versions where they've edited like different cuts on top of it, asking him different questions.
Oh, that's horrible. So what is an esport? Have we defined it?
Nope.
I don't think there is.
I think I've defined it in my mind.
I think it's undefinable. I think something.
I think it's so loose.
Yeah, I think it's the same as a sport. Like we could sit here going, is chess a sport? Isn't it a sport? At the end of the day, there's not going to be a definitive answer.
A professional digital competition. Did I do it?
That's quite good. That's quite good.
Did I do a good one?
It's the word professional, I think.
Yeah, I think a professional digital competition is quite an accurate thing to say.
So if we call them PDCs in future,
PDCs.
that goes quite well.
Yeah.
And gathletes.
PDCs and athletes. We've done it, guys.
Just because, like I said, there has to be the money aspect of it as well. Because
I think it has to be. Or some form.
where
Not necessarily money, like bragging
I don't think
rights.
so.
not even that. No, there's no bragging rights in esports really.
I'm gonna try.
There's just money.
That's the things. All sports would be better. Like, if they were to learn,
If they gave out tabards.
NFL athletes, touchdown celebrations. Why don't all
throwback
sports
to
have these?
episode
I would love to watch a game of chess when someone takes a pawn and then like does the dance. Yeah. Come on. Or like gets up and
Do the
you're
robot.
watching a stream on World of Warcraft and they get a kill and then they stand up and start nay-naying like these sports.
They do a lot of trash talking in CS:GO and stuff like that in the dairy sports tournaments. There's a lot of like,
All the filth of the internet gather on Counter-Strike.
They do, don't they? It's amazing. I bought it.
Counter-Strike is not even in the same... It's worse than 4chan.
Yeah. Hey, have you ever played Counter-Strike Go Forward? No. Kill yourself.
This sounds like noobs to Dota.
It sounds like those are a
Esports
lot.
needs more showmanship. I think that's. The
I think that's pretty good. I like that.
If you look at say like Tyson Fury or Chael Sonnen, like these are guys that they're so. Do you actually know I'm talking about your stead?
Yeah.
They're so witty, like Tyson Fury, for all the things he's said,
funny as
like
hell.
the things that come out of his mouth are gold. And Chael Sonnen in the UFC,
Gold and garbage, right?
right? Yeah, and
It's one
you
or
don't-
Let's just say that we don't agree with him.
yeah, have that comedy and that showmanship in esports. I think it would draw a larger crowd.
I think
That's what they do it for, though, isn't it? They
Yeah.
say the things that they say to sell tickets and to make an event. And I think, yeah, you're right. If somebody was sitting down at a Street Fighter tournament and they were just like, yeah, I want to win this tournament.
I think if we
pressing each other's buttons.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
I think if we could play more Dota with people that we could understand, there'd probably be a lot more.
I only
I
play
don't
with.
speak Russian,
GG.
so
It was not GG.
is it?
It was BG.
So no banter, no trash talking, just Sika. Like that's all you get, man. Like
And kill yourself.
yeah, it's just like, and all we can come back is just like silly Russian, like, and then they're like, what? Noob dick,
That's clever.
Noob seeker.
noob Sika dick. It's like,
To be fair, like every time I've played, recently anyway, I've not encountered that many Russians. I've got to be honest. But then
Look at
again,
you.
I only play in Team MMR now anyway.
Xenophobic.
I always play with people that I know.
yeah.
So I either play with Lauren or with my friend Gary, who is on stream a lot.
He knows everything.
He knows the game inside out. Like if he could execute better, I think he'd probably be pro.
Does it sometimes go offline because he's not having a good night?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not sticking around because I'll ruin your MMR. I'll see you later. Have a good
Yeah,
night.
pretty much.
That's pro. I like that.
Yeah.
I have to do that sometimes if I'm playing online. Like I used to do with Destiny if I was having a bad night.
It's
Like getting wound up, I was like, right, I'm going.
That's
Just
not
like
because of
check.
any ranking. That's because the remote will go through the telly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I want to keep this intact, and I want to spare you a night. I don't. I used to mute my mic sometimes because it's like, fuck you guys. Let's mute it. 'Cause I don't want to break up any friendships here. Let's just.
And on that note, topic number 3.